Okay, one more video to just walk through. So we've determined that, of course, it's not the computer or the control system interfering with itself. We have a 50-foot cable that is running to the system, so likelihood is it's not that unless we're seeing a significant voltage drop, but that should be simple enough to test for to see if the box is in fact getting enough voltage in order to run the system, or amperage in that case. But a 50-foot cable really shouldn't be giving you that much. At most, you're probably going to go like 0.084 or 0.84 volts as a dropping point for 50, if I recall correctly. Don't entirely recall off the top of my head. Regardless though, that wouldn't impede the function of the machine based off of the fact that the system does run off of 115. One last piece that I do want to check, just for the sake of just double checking everything, I do want to make sure that when you did square out the table, that it was squared from the inside of this corner to the inside of the opposing corner over there. Similarly, from the inside of this corner to the inside of that corner over there, as opposed to squaring it from the rails. If it's squared from the rails, that could cause issues, but again, not likely going to be the cause of issues that would cause this amount of shaking, jittering, and what have you. One thing that I will ask you to do, and this is going to sound a little strange, but if possible, can you remove either this motor here or the motor over there so that we can take a look at it? And if you set it on top of one of these rails, having the rail act as a resonator, essentially it's going to allow me to listen to the motor. So best practice to do that is I would remove this motor, and I would also unplug the opposite Y motor from the control box here. So whatever this opposite motor is that you're not using, unplug it from here, pull this motor off, set it on top of one of the pipes, and send me one shot of it. I do just want to see that to check. It is very unlikely that all four motors are in fact fouled out. That's just not something that occurs on our systems because the motors themselves are relatively simple. So it would be in the control system. And again, as I mentioned last time, if these particular tests here don't work to resolve the issue, I'm just going to do a warranty swap and get you a new control box, and we'll deal with the control systems from that point. But again, just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page on the square, and one way for me to listen to the motor so that it resonates the way I want it to on the bar, and I can sort of suss out what in fact is going on. Thank you again for being patient as we figure this out. As you were saying previously about potentially having me come out there, I'm actually more and more becoming a fan of the idea of actually coming out there and seeing the table for myself to make sure that we're not going to run into something like this in the future if this is something that can be avoided. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but for now, this is what I have. And I do want to take it over here as well with the 5x10. So this is our 5x10. Now we have our slat set up a little bit wider and a little bit more loose. But that's just because in this particular case, we're running a very specific series of cuts on here designed for that. Yeah, just wanted to double check some things. Outside of that, we'll run from there. So, thank you much. Talk soon.